Hello, everyone. X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Bethel. Because to Jehovah's Witnesses, everybody is expendable. Pretty much the complete opposite of Christianity, the complete opposite of what Jesus Christ came to teach is what Jehovah's Witnesses practice. It doesn't matter if you are a Bethelite to Jehovah's Witnesses, you're expendable. They don't care. It doesn't matter if you are an individual person's family member. If you're inconvenient to a Jehovah's Witness, you're expendable. They just won't talk to you anymore. Just like that. No problem. Just won't talk to you anymore. You're talking people who have been raised in the same house, or people who were doing the raising and brought somebody up for 18, 19, 20 some odd years in the same house. And like that, they'll just stop talking to you if you're inconvenient to them. This is Jehovah's Witnesses. This is the opposite of Christianity. This is their shunning practice. This is just their culture. Polar opposite of Christianity. Polar opposite of Christianity. The Bible and all that stuff is just a sales tool to bring people in their little cult. And we're going to talk about some things that happen in Bethel and happen all the time. I worked in the food warehouse. Now, we would ship food items out to all the different kitchens. It's almost like working at a Sam's Club, or Costco, where things are delivered in bulk, right? So you're not just taking a box of cereal and putting it on a pallet. You're taking a case of cereal and putting that on a pallet. You're not taking just a jar of fruit, canned goods, what have you, and putting it on a pallet. You're taking a whole box of cans and putting it on a pallet. Think about beans and things that come in really big bags, flour. You're taking big bags of flour, big bags of beans, all kinds of things like that. Wholesale product. You're lifting on a regular basis there in the warehouse. That's all you do is ship out product and receive in product off of trucks. All this stuff has got to constantly be lifted, constantly be lifted, constantly be lifted. So there was a time where I bent down to pick up a big box full of giant cans. And I pick up this box to put it on a pallet, and I feel a sharp pain in my back. And I kept trying to, twist and whatnot and keep working, but it felt like I had no strength right here in my back. And there was that sharp pain that even sitting down, I tried sitting down for a little while, and sitting down, it wasn't right. And it was hard to get back up. So eventually, I've got to tell him, hey, I hurt my back. And I tried resting, and that's not helping at all. And, they're like, well, take a break this truck and we'll get you on the next truck. So I do that, and same thing. I'm like, hey, my back is hurting. I done pulled something, tore something, something's not right. And eventually they're like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and send you to medical, which they reluctantly do for a lot of people. They reluctantly send them to medical. I mean, unless you're older, much older or something like that. So I go to medical, and while I'm sitting in the waiting room, it's like they're in the back trying to figure out what to do with me. Because I don't even think they had a doctor in that day. Even if the doctor they have is a legit doctor. This dude looked like he was 85 years old when I finally did see him. And what he says is, hey, you're going to go to the chiropractor. And I'm thinking, wow, Bethel has got a chiropractor. And they sent me to the chiropractor. It was a room inside Bethel. I go in, they've got one of those little chairs that you lay forward on, and you put your face through that little hole. And I'm laying there, and then the person that comes in to do the work on me, they had no idea what they were doing. This person didn't do nothing but pound on my back, push this, push that. It felt horrible. They weren't popping anything. Nothing was popping. Nothing was, like a normal chiropractor would do. They're just like pounding on your back. And I'm like, I thought this little thing right here is what little kids do when they pretend play chiropractor. Like, did they just grab some random person who was in medical that day and say, go and chiropract this brother? Like, this person had no clue what they were doing. So after just pounding on my back and just pushing on my neck while my head was in the thing, just random stuff that this person was making up as they went along. I know I've been to a chiropractor before, and it was nothing like what this person did. I mean, this person like blatantly just made up stuff and was just pushing on me and pounding on my back. So that didn't help. So I eventually, when they were done, just got some ice and pretty much self-medicated, because Bethel wasn't going to, despite the fact that I'm there working for free, despite the fact that they can't really run operations without Bethelites, despite the fact that they verbally state, oh, this is a loving brotherhood. Meanwhile, they're shunning their own relatives all over the country, all over the world. They're just shunning their relatives. Well, hey, if you're not making us look good at the Kingdom Hall by commenting and doing what Watchtower tells you to do, we just won't talk to you anymore, right? This is this loving brotherhood. Well, they didn't want to send me to an actual chiropractor. Bethel don't want to spend that money. So they get somebody who, I don't know, may have been a receptionist at a chiropractor's office once. They may have been a janitor at a chiropractor's office once, but they wasn't no chiropractor. I can tell you that right now. This lady had no clue what on earth she was doing. I basically just I fixed myself. I put ice on it. I would try to lay on my stomach because laying on my back would hurt. I went through like 2 weeks worth of pain, which was completely unnecessary. They could have just sent me somewhere where they knew what they were doing so that they could fix the problem. Instead of that, they sent me to some sister at Bethel pretending to be a chiropractor, and I ended up just working in pain for weeks before it started to get any better. This is the organization that people think is being ran basically by God somehow, right? It's just so obvious that this is not the case that you have to question these people's intellects at some point. There's another situation where a brother got hurt at Bethel. He got hurt working at Bethel. He fell and he got hurt bad. He was hurt bad to the point where he was in bed in the infirmary. Now, when somebody is badly injured, and he wasn't like no 20-year-old kid, he's probably like 30 or something to that effect. Not old, but not super young. But when somebody is badly injured, it's like, send them to the hospital. Bethel should have some sort of insurance that helps pay when you send people to the hospital, because they're getting all this money from all these people who Watchtower now takes money out of people's bank account on a monthly basis. They're getting that. They're getting money that they're begging for on the broadcast, right? They're getting all this money from real estate deals and all of these things that they're doing. But the people that work for them, the Bethelites, the Bethelite quote unquote family, you're going to understand that the family is the basic unit. And if you are a religious person, you believe that this is a basic unit set up by God. If you're a religious person, this is a basic unit, building block of society. Jehovah's Witnesses don't know what family is. I was talking to somebody today whose family, close family, mother, does not really have a good relationship with her. I'm talking close family. Like, Jehovah's Witnesses don't even know what a family is, right? I have a stepdad. Thank God he's not blood related to me. I knew my biological father and we had a good relationship. But stepdad, he don't talk to half his family. He talk to whoever is convenient. That's not what a family is. Whoever is convenient at the moment, I'm going to talk to them. Whoever makes me look good in front of random strangers, I'm going to talk to them. See, Jehovah, they don't even have normal family structures. And people think that's Christian. It's the polar, complete opposite. So let's get back into the brother who's bedridden he was hurt bad. Bedridden at Bethel. And Bethel is not going to send him to a hospital to get surgery or whatever it is he needs done. And they eventually, after just having him sit in a bed in the infirmary, you have to understand how dangerous this is. The brother could have internal bleeding. The brother could have anything wrong with him. They don't know. They just have him laying there in a bed in the infirmary because they don't want to send him to the hospital because they don't want to pay for it. So eventually he sits in the infirmary for a good long time because he was badly hurt. And they eventually sit down and tell him, well, we're going to need you to leave Bethel. They'll use the word reassign you. We're going to reassign you back to the congregation. In other words, you just got to go because we're not getting production out of you because you got hurt working at Bethel. So we just got to get rid of you. This brother is like, I'm not leaving. Now, keep in mind, this is very reasonable on his part, the brother's part. He's like, I'm not going to leave until I'm physically capable of travel. You mean to tell me Bethel is going to take this brother who's in the bed trying to heal and wheelchair him into a car and tell him bye? Yes, they would. Oh, yes, they would. Oh, Jehovah take care of you. Jehovah figure out how you're going to get back home. Put him in a wheelchair, wheel him into the car, have some brothers lift him, put him in there. We'll crank the car up for you. Go. Yes, they would do that. This is the polar opposite of anything close to Christian, anything close to Christ-like. This is what these people think is God's organization. Why do they think that? Somebody told them. They just believe whatever in the world they're told. It's easy to do that when you don't have good thinking ability. We won't call them stupid, just don't have good thinking ability. At least, for right now, we won't call them that. But this brother, I know the brother to this day, and I cannot believe how they treated him. He's like, I am not going to leave. He wasn't saying he wasn't going to leave, period. He's saying, I'm not going to leave until I can physically drive a car, till I can get home. How in the world is he supposed to get home? You expect this person's family to travel all the way to Bethel to come, I don't know how to get them in a vehicle in that condition and then drive them all the way back. I'm telling you, Bethel does not care. And I'll tell you why. So after this discussion where they tell the brother that he has to leave, and he decides, no, I'm not leaving until I'm, physically capable of doing so. They eventually then tell him that he has to leave, otherwise he risks a judicial hearing and being disfellowshipped for not following God's organization's direction. Not following the direction of God's organization, rebelling against directly what they're telling you to do. So this is the shunning policy, which is oftentimes used to sweep things under the rug. So basically what that meant is you get out, and if you give us any problems, like you want to talk about this to people, then, we'll just disfellowship you. And nobody will talk to you after we get done doing it. Disfellowshipped from Bethel, like not just a congregation, Bethel, disfellowship somebody. You think their family or anybody's going to listen to them? They're going to think everything that comes out that person's mouth is coming from the devil. These people are that, we won't call them stupid, unintelligent, that they think if Bethel disfellowships you, oh man, there ain't nobody at your hall going to talk to you. There ain't nobody in your family that's in it going to talk to you. Basically, it's damage control for the organization because they know nobody inside is going to listen to you. So we just got away with doing the most unchristian thing you can possibly do. And this is what they've been doing. For the longest time, things happen to people. Oh, we'll cover it up by just disfellowshipping them if they make too much of a ruckus talking about our mistakes or our things that we do that's not Christian. We'll just disfellowship them and nobody will listen to them. It's basically what they do to try to silence people. There's another situation, because keep in mind, this is a practice at Bethel, so there's a lot of people that end up getting hurt or sick or something like that. There's another brother that I remember, he loved sports. He loved sports. And he would skip lunch. So, of course, we have our lunch break. Instead of going to lunch to go eat, he would skip lunch to play, whether it be football, whether it be basketball, or what have you. They got either softball or baseball. They got that too. So a lot of people, that really, really like sports, and you got all these people, so you got enough people for all kinds of teams and things like that. Lunchtime was time to play their particular sport, and he was always playing sports. This brother loves sports. Well, he ends up hurting his knee at work. And he eventually just decided to pretend like it was okay when it was not. See, they took him and did what Bethel will do, send him to the make pretend medical professional to go and look at it and, dibble dabble and whatnot and try to appease you so you don't, want to go to no hospital or nothing because they ain't paying for that. This brother wasn't stupid. He pretty much figured out that they're not going to send me to a hospital, and if I don't pretend to be better, if I don't pretend like this is no big deal, that doesn't need a real doctor's attention, well, then they're going to just kick me out. He knew it. He done seen it 100 times. He knew. I need to pretend like my knee ain't hurting. I think it was an Achilles or something like that. I think it was something serious. Because this dude, his leg was bothering him forever after that. You got to understand, he wanted to make a career at Bethel. He wanted to get married, bring a wife in, all this stuff, right? Well, he really didn't want to leave because he hurt his leg. You know what I mean? Any other place in the quote unquote world where you get hurt, they got insurance where they'll not only send you to a doctor, or you can go to a doctor, chiropractor, whatever you need to have done to fix it, but they'll also give you workman's compensation and all this good stuff that quote unquote the devil gives people. But according to Jehovah's Witnesses, Jehovah will send you to a fake doctor to make pretend fix you so they ain't got to send you to a hospital. And then if you ain't fixed, pretend fixed or whatever, get with the program, pretend you ain't hurt when you are, they'll just get rid of you. So he continued working. And this dude's leg would go out on him whenever. I'm telling y'all, I was walking with him. Him and me were walking and talking after morning worship and getting ready to walk to our assignments. And this dude's leg just goes out. And, he has to gather himself for a good while before he can just start limping his way to work. But he told me all of what happened. We had gotten close enough to where he shared with me what happened. Like, I got to keep working on it. Otherwise, they're going to send me home. Well, really long story short, he ended up meeting a sister that he liked and a brother that was so dedicated that he continued working. I'm talking injured. Like there was something wrong with his leg. He kept working on it. They decided instead of letting him have a wife there and having two people instead of one, to just get rid of him. Just get rid of him. Bring in somebody else so that they can only pay for one meal for that amount of work. All right? So this brother that was that dedicated, instead of, letting him have a wife there and her having a plate of food and him having a plate of food, they sent him away. He ended up having to go home anyway. Right? Now he's got to leave Bethel and find a job with his leg messed up. Right? How's he going to pass a physical to get a regular job when his leg is messed up? They don't care. Bethel don't care. So his wife was looking forward to staying at Bethel. He was. They both had to go. You would think that a brother praying to God so that he could stay at Bethel, and he was so dedicated to where he would work injured. He didn't need to. He's like, okay, y'all don't have to send me to a doctor. I'm just praying that I can, have a wife here so that I can stay here. Because, a lot of people know they can't just stay single forever, right? They got rid of him. So it's not just Bethel getting rid of whoever they feel is inconvenient. It's your average Jehovah's Witness who, in their family, whoever they feel doesn't want to go to their religious service. I'm talking, this isn't a person on drugs. This isn't a person in and out of prison. Right? They won't talk to them anymore. And a lot of these people who won't talk to you, they will not talk to you. You can't say that it's because they feel like you're bad association or you're going to damage their spirituality. I'll tell you why. One of the reasons for that is oftentimes these people have sinned themselves. Like, these are people who have been in affairs, had full-on affairs on their partner, and they ain't talking to you, right? Like, for example, my stepdad, been disfellowshipped himself, he on his third wife, been divorced multiple times. There was something going on inside the family with him always being alone. Growing up with him, it was him always alone with some woman, whether it be a woman in our family that we kept catching him alone with, or sisters who, while my mother wasn't in the house, the sister would be there, and it'd just be her and my stepdad there. This was nonstop. This was continuous. And you mean to tell me this is the person who don't want to talk to somebody else? I mean, these people are involved in all kinds of things that are unscriptural, just like anybody else. But the difference is, they can have sex outside of their marriage. They can get divorced however many times they want to get divorced as a result of it. They can get DF for doing all kinds of sexual things. But if you don't do anything sexual, you haven't been DF for anything, you haven't done anything wrong, you just don't want to go to that particular religion because all their doctrines, for the most part, and predictions have all been wrong. So common sense would be, if I want reliable religious instruction, I'd go somewhere else. Well, you're the devil. Like, you're the worst person in the world, right? They got all them pedophiles in there, but if you just don't want to go to their church, they don't want to talk to you anymore. They'll shun you. You're inconvenient now, right? It doesn't make the organization look like this perfect little place when they have people that don't want to attend their meetings, so they just, try to erase that person from existence. They just don't exist anymore. Don't talk to them anymore. This is Christian. Like, this organization, Jehovah's Witnesses are the most un-Christian group there is. They don't have no charities. They basically do nothing for people. Nothing for people as an organization, unless it's something to make themselves look good. And they don't respect the family. They shun for things that they shouldn't. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. And somebody was talking about, all these are empty, which is not true. Side note, these aren't empty. This is my little mini top shelf Tony collection here. So, for example, I've got the summer watermelon. And as you can see, I don't know if you can tell that there's some in there, but this ain't even open. This summer watermelon ain't even open, let alone empty. And then we also got, and this is pretty good, the summer citrus. I only drank like half of that, but these are my top shelf Tony collection. Like, I like Ciroc, so he drinks Jameson or whatever in the world he drinks. But let me know what you think. Comment down below. Bethel, the most unloving place in the world. How in the world could anybody think Jehovah would use something like that? X-Wall Kill Bethelite, signing out.